So are we good to go?
Yes, sir. Good to go. Just before we start, everybody, I hope everybody knows the agenda I had already shared in the group. So this is one of the last classes of our course on medical forensics. We might have one more, but this one is, and this one and the last one is going to be about how to cross-examine medical experts. So basically, this is a product that we had started with our forensic programs, which has been enjoyed by a lot of you. And this, I think it leaves us with a good omen कि आगे एक और अच्छा course आने वाला है. So it has become a ritual for us to have our last class on cross-examination by Ashish sir. Mr. Ashish Chavan that you see on the screen, you बहुत सारे लोग उनको जानते हैं बहुत पहले से, मुझसे अच्छा जानते हैं उन्हें. And कुछ लोग होंगे जो नहीं जानते होंगे maybe. So he's been the special public prosecutor for state of Maharashtra, amicus curiae in so many cases, and he's a brilliant lawyer with decades of experience in criminal laws. And he's been teaching with us on various courses, I think for a couple of years now. So we can go ahead with this much of information, sir, and we can start.
Yeah. So are the cameras on? How's the thing? Is everyone there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically today we are going to divide what I am going to do into two parts. Am I audible?
Perfectly.
Yeah. So today we are going to do two things. I'll divide it into two parts. One is the cross-exam or dummy cross-examination or a sort of a demo cross-examination of a doctor on an injury report. Now, an injury report is one of the most common documents that are issued by doctors, and one of the most common document that you are likely to find yourself with when you are representing an accused, especially if that accused is supposed to have caused an injury to somebody. That is the allegation against that particular person. Now, the injury again, I really don't want to spend time on academic discussion right now, but I am sure all of us are conversant with the types of injuries. So IPC defines simple hurt and grievous hurt. So those are the two legal definitions of what an injury is all about. And there is an exhaustive definition in the old 320 of IPC. Now, of course, I am not very conversant with the equivalent sections, but none of those sections, I believe, have been changed in the new BNS. So that is so far as grievous hurt is concerned, and simple hurt is more of an exclusive definition, not an inclusive definition. So more or less what is not grievous hurt is simple hurt. That is how we define legally the two categories of hurt. Now, medically, of course, injuries are of various types, and that is something which is the domain of the doctor. But you have lacerated wounds, you have contused wounds, you have contused and lacerated wounds. You have all kinds of different kinds of, sometimes there are only scratches. So there are various kinds of medical terminology that is used to describe injuries or wounds. Yes, I forgot, incised wounds. And incised wounds are more likely to be caused by a sharp weapon. So normally when blunt force is applied in a particular manner, there could be bruises at the very beginning of that spectrum to lacerations at the end of the spectrum. So if a person, let us say, meets an accident and is thrown off a bike and falls unfortunately on his back, and he's dragged for some time, then that his entire skin and all, some part of the flesh will be lacerated. And that is because of application of a huge traumatic force, but which is blunt in nature. It is not sharp. On the other hand, if A stabs B with a knife, what is caused is an incised wound. Now, incised wound can also be lacerated. Supposing A attacks B with a sickle which is not sharpened, and he doesn't cut that particular person, but he manages to deliver thrashing blows to that person, then there can be lacerations. So this is an endless topic. Dr. Saab must have obviously dealt with the different kinds of medical injuries that are possible. So, so far as cross-examination or even evidence of a medical witness is concerned, the first thing that we must see is normally in a criminal trial, the doctor will come as a witness for the prosecution. Of course, it is not impossible that he will come as a witness for the defense, but most rarely we see doctors coming in as witness for the defense. Normally, more often than not, they are witnesses for the prosecution. And as we know, Evidence Act, any document needs to be proved by examining the author of the document. So that is the logic behind examining a doctor. Supposing a doctor has conducted a post-mortem report, then that post-mortem report has to be proved through him, which is why the doctor comes into the witness box. Supposing the doctor has only given an injury certificate, which we normally call as a MLC or a medical legal certificate, then he comes in to depose about that particular certificate only. Supposing he has given a DNA report. So whatever document that he has given, the document comes, the doctor comes and gives evidence about that particular document. Now again, coming back to some trivialities or small niceties of Evidence Act, the examination in chief is conducted by normally a public prosecutor. Now the public prosecutor is a lawyer of the state. He represents the state. So he will call the doctor into the witness box and he will ask him questions which are of a non-leading nature. So these are the examination in chief. So therefore you can't ask any leading questions. Introductory questions can be asked and broad-based open-ended questions can be asked. So normally it goes like, Dr. So-and-so, did you have an occasion of examining this particular person or this particular witness or whatever, XYZ? And then the doctor says yes. And when have you conducted this examination? So let us say he says it on so and so date. Did you prepare any injury certificate in relation to that examination? Yes. If I show you that injury certificate, will you be able to identify it? Again, he says yes. And then medical certificate is shown to him. Then the contents are read by him. And the question is asked whether the contents are true and correct, to which obviously he says yes. Many a times you have a situation where the doctor may not have done it himself. His junior may have done it or his senior may have done it. So then he says that although I have not done it myself, I can identify the signature of my superior. So the document in that sense gets proved. And sometimes he may not have actually participated in that whole process. So that becomes an interesting question for the cross-examiner, because that is one angle that a seasoned cross-examiner will look for. Only because a particular doctor identifies his signature or his superior signature, does it necessarily mean that he has himself conducted the entire exercise? So whether it is post-mortem or whether it is the examination of that particular injured witness. So that is something which needs to be probed and needs to be asked. And nothing is lost by asking that question, or nothing is really damaged by asking that question. Even if you ask a simple question, what was the procedure that you did, or how did you examine? The answer could be, I did not examine. And then the entire document can be considered into a question mark, because if that person was not personally present while he examined the wounds. Now, in this case, if you are going to look at an injury certificate, if that concerned doctor has not even seen the patient, taken his oral history, looked at his wounds, estimated the age of the wounds, and ultimately opined whether it is a simple hurt or a grievous hurt, then how is he supposed to give any evidence? So one of the angle that can be looked at is whether the doctor, or in any case, the expert who claims to have done that particular thing, has done it himself or not, or has it been delegated to somebody. Sometimes it is part delegated also. So he does something XYZ, and then ABC is done by some other person. So this is again one aspect of cross-examination. One more aspect is in a lot of police cases, you find that these doctors are the person who is an accused, or sometimes it is the examination of the accused, sometimes it is the examination of the injured. So it could be both ways. Many a times in a fight, even your client can get injured if you are representing the accused. So it could be examination of the accused. It could also be an examination of the witness, who is a victim, who was attacked by your client or the accused. So then normally in a police case, you have somebody accompanying that person. It very rarely happens that a person goes to the government hospital all by himself. Because if it's a, let us say, an incident or a crime, if there is a violence and the police have come onto the scene, normally a constable accompanies or somebody accompanies that injured witness. So that is also one angle which can be asked, whether somebody accompanied him, who accompanied him, when did, so then the timeline is also relevant. When did he come into your hospital? So normally hospitals have OPDs or outpatient departments, and then they have IPDs or inpatient departments. Unless and until the injury is so bad that it requires some kind of suturing, or there is a fracture, or it requires further uh, uh, investigation, only then the patient is taken to the IPD or he is admitted into the hospital. Otherwise, most of these small wounds are treated at the OPD level. So then those questions come in, whether your hospital has got an OPD and an IPD. Does your hospital maintain some kind of a register which keeps a track of which patients are taken in, what time they are taken in, how much time did this patient spend with you? So all these questions are, of course, we'll have a short demo moment Dr. Saab joins us. But in the meantime, these are the questions that can be looked at. And now, if has the injury certificate been shared with you?
Yes, sir.
So can we have a look at the injury certificate? Because I think we are at 7:30. So before I start the examination, I'm going to give you a kind of a secret look into the mind of the cross-examiner. Before our
on screen.
Yeah, so it is on screen. You can all see it. Let us say typically now, for a seasoned lawyer, of course, you show this to a seasoned cross-examiner even 10 minutes prior to his cross-examination, he can start cross-examining. But of course, for somebody who is a novice, you need to have a look at these documents much earlier and prepare yourself in advance. So let us start, and the cross-examination is not really something which is very, very medical. Of course, many times it can get medical also. So one advice or one tip that I can share with you as somebody who has been conducting cross-examinations on the field is that you don't have to outwit or outsmart the doctor. You don't have to prove that you are better than him. All that you need to do is to create some area of doubt in the mind of the judge. And this can be done by pointing out procedural infirmities. And you don't need to attack the medical knowledge of that witness. That is something which all cross-examiners must bear in mind, that whenever you are confronted with a witness who is an expert in his field, there is really no gain by attacking him in his own domain, by trying to establish that you have better knowledge than him, because that becomes extremely difficult for a lawyer to do. And even if you succeed, ultimately he always has the advantage of being the expert, and always he can say that this is on the field, we do this. You may say XYZ, you may show me 20 books, but on the field, this is what we do, and the judge will tend to believe him. So your focus should be on the small print. Your focus should be on the procedural part, whether he has followed this particular thing which he was supposed to do or which he was required to do, whether he has made notes of whatever he has done, whether he has observed the chain of custody. All these are small things which you will have to look for. So is our witness there? Has he joined?
Not yet, sir. He's joining.
Okay, so let us start with the beginning of what is written on the left hand side. This is an examination / certification of injured, which is also called as injury report. Now, in many states, we call it an MLC report or a medico-legal report. Okay, now again, there are formats. In Maharashtra, for example, there is a format of an MLC. Every states may have different formats, but more or less the category is the same, or the ingredients in the formats are more or less constant. Now, firstly, it is addressed to somebody. Now, in this case, it is addressed to the investigating officer, police station, Thane. Now, typically, it will also have some kind of a reference number, which you'll find in the next line. submission of report of examination of injured person, reference is there, your letter number so and so. So what is this letter? This letter is sent by the concerned investigating officer to the doctor, where he says that I am forwarding a patient to you. Please examine that patient and forward me or return me back the report. This is how the injury report reads. Therefore, that is the reference. It says your letter number 1048/2018 dated 15/7/2018. Okay. So this report is now, let us look at the end of this report. What is the date of the report? Can anyone say what is the date of the report? See, a question is automatically generated here.
15 July 18, sir.
Correct. Now, I can say that this letter is dated 15/7/2018. Now, there is where an ambiguity lies. Because if you read that entire line, it says your letter number so and so dated 15/7. So can it not be construed to mean or understood to mean that the letter which the doctor received, that is bearing number 1048 of 2018, was on 15/7/2018? So there must be something which is clear and unambiguous. For example, there could have been a date and time where there's a column. See, at the end of that document, just go to the end of the document. There is a column. It says place, date, and time. Neither the place is mentioned, nor the date is mentioned, nor the time is mentioned. So this is where you can say that we do not know when this report is prepared. Is it not? So this is one way to look. It is just observation. There is nothing great about this. What I did was I looked at the reference, which showed me a particular letter. The letter bears a particular date, but I tried to find out whether there is a date to this report. Now, as I see it, there is no date, but the doctor can give some kind of an explanation. But it is certainly worth asking whether there is a date or not and why this date is not mentioned in that particular column. Now, Raghav, please let me know when the witness comes, because I will have to start with the cross-examination. Are you there, Raghav? Okay. So, going ahead now, there is the name of the person. I am forwarding here with the report of examination of name of injured is so-and-so, son of so-and-so, surname so-and-so, resident of so-and-so. Brought by PC. This is what I was saying. Brought by PC. PC is what? Short form for police constable. So this is a short form for police constable brought by PC number Mr. MNO, police station Thane. So what does this paragraph tell you? It tells you the name of the patient, that is the name of the injured. Then it tells you the name and surname, of course, and the place where he's residing at, and who has brought him. Okay. Now, normally police constables have got buckle numbers, so which is why you find a number 104. So this Mr. MNO has a buckle number 104, and he's attached to Thane police station. Now there is a column of consent. Okay, this consent is explained to the patient in Hindi language. Now, it is a prudent practice for doctors to take consent before examining an injured person. Especially more so if it's a case of sexual assault and if it's a girl or a woman in question. So therefore, the consent has to be explicit. Now, can you see that there is any consent given? The answer is there in the text itself.
Consent,
there is no...
Sir, consent is explained to patient in Hindi language.
Correct, but tell me, कौन से हिंदी लैंग्वेज में मेंशन किया है? तो अगर उनको हिंदी लैंग्वेज में मेंशन किया था या एक्सप्लेन किया था, तो उनका एक लाइन आना चाहिए ना कि मुझे ये बात हिंदी में समझाई गई. Is it not?
Yes, sir.
How do we believe the doctor that he has explained this to the patient in Hindi? Normally, what would you and me have done? We would have asked that patient कि भाई ये लिखो हिंदी में कि मुझे मैं अपने राजी खुशी से या मन से मेरा जो भी एग्जामिनेशन है वो करने का परमिशन दे रहा हूँ, कंसेंट दे रहा हूँ। ये बात हिंदी में लिखी जानी चाहिए थी, जो
जी
यहाँ पे एब्सेंट है। इसलिए वो कॉलम भी है, देखिए ना, कंसेंट और उसके बीच में एक स्पेस भी है जहाँ पे लिखा जाना चाहिए था, लेकिन नहीं लिखा गया है।
तो मैंडेटरी है सर।
हाँ, तो यही ना, अभी ये बातें जो है ना, कि क्या मैंडेटरी है क्या नहीं है, इस पे काफी बहस हो सकती है, क्योंकि इट विल ऑल डिपेंड ऑन व्हाट इज दैट इंजरी रिपोर्ट फॉर, एंड वेदर दैट कंसेंट रियली टर्न्स एनीथिंग। समझो ये कंसेंट नहीं ली होती और ये इंजरीज अगर देखे गए होते और उसके ऊपर ओपिनियन दिया होता, तो उससे क्या फर्क पड़ता? In a sexual violence case or assault case, yes, possibility that the consent has to be taken because it's a sensitive issue and it's a violation of a woman's privacy. But kai bar, when there is a, for example, there is a lot of patients coming to the hospital, there is a rioting case or a mob violence case, it is difficult to take the consent of each and every person. इसीलिए डॉक्टर्स resort to this shortcut remedy by saying that consent is explained to the patient in his own language, could be Marathi, Hindi, Gujarati, Tamil, whatever. So you have a valid point, but mandatory, see, there is no law. See, you have to understand one thing in ballistic science, in blood grouping, in handwriting evidence, or handwriting science for that matter, or even medicine. कोई लॉ नहीं है कि ये चार चीजें होनी चाहिए। अगर फॉर्म में उसके लिए प्रावधान है, पोजीशन है, जरूरी है, तो वो लिखी जानी चाहिए। नाउ उसका टोटल वैल्यूएशन कितना होगा कि ये नो कंसेंट इज टेकन, हाउ मच ऑफ दैट विल बी विद द माइंड ऑफ द कोर्ट इज समथिंग फॉर यू टू प्रेजेंट बिफोर द कोर्ट एंड फॉर द कोर्ट टू कंसिडर। ठीक है, सो देन वी मूव ऑन टू द राइट हैंड साइड, द सिग्नेचर ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट और गार्डियन। तो ये अक्यूज की सिग्नेचर हो गई, दिस इज द सिग्नेचर ऑफ द अक्यूज्ड। देन यू हैव एग्जामिन्ड इन प्रेजेंस ऑफ सिग्नेचर, थंब इम्प्रेशन। तो जिसके साथ या जिसके सामने ये एग्जामिनेशन हुआ है, जिसके प्रेजेंस में एग्जामिनेशन हुआ है, उनके दो लोगों के सिग्नेचर है। अब वेरी क्यूरियसली ये लाया किसने था? एमएनओ ने लाया था। मिस्टर एमएनओ द पीसी हैज ब्रॉट दिस पर्टिकुलर पेशेंट। तो जाहिर सी बात है कि उसके सामने ही ये पूरी एग्जामिनेशन हुई होगी, दैट्स एन अजम्पशन, बट 99% यही हुआ होगा। व्हाई इज इट दैट हिज नेम इज नॉट मेंशन्ड? तो उनका नाम ही मेंशन है, एग्जामिन्ड इन प्रेजेंस ऑफ ब्लैंक, किसी का भी नाम नहीं। Okay, so this is one line of question that can be asked. Then identification marks, ये भी बहुत important चीज है, because अभी तो डॉक्टर साहब है नहीं and I'm running out of time. So I'll
Doctor's here, doctor is in the
Sir,
room.
I have joined
hi.
sitting in one police station and not
Oh,
I've been caught for anything. I was
okay.
traveling, but I didn't get any space, so I am in this Swargate police station sitting over here.
Oh,
So if
in
there's
Pune, you are in Pune.
ask me, or if you want to question me, you can. Yes, sir, I'm
No,
available.
I'll straight away go into the questioning because honestly, sir, I am also running short of time.
Okay,
So,
sir. Okay.
so if you can have a look at the examination report, Dr. Sir, and permit me to ask questions.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, sir, the first question that I would like to ask you is that you have mentioned that you have received a letter which bears the number 1048 of 2018.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
do I take it, or will it be correct to say that this letter was dated 15/7/2018?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is there any documentary evidence in your injury report to suggest when you have received this letter?
Yes, sir. There was one requisition letter which I have received from the police officer, investigating officer, and I have handed one copy of the same. After signing, I have handed it over to the police officer who came with the victim.
Correct. So is there anything to show that you have received it on a particular date? That is the question, sir, I was asking. See,
Sir,
this is a letter of 2018,
yes, sir.
7/2018. My
Yes, sir.
question,
I have the requisition letter which I received, sir.
okay, so you will be carrying it with you. So this
Yes,
is,
sir.
so just for the audience, this is a line of questioning that can be asked so that the cross-examining lawyer can come to know that this letter of 15/7/2018 actually reached the hand of the doctor when? Did it reach on 15/7? Did it reach on 16th? Did it reach on 17th? Or, So we need to find out that. So which is why I was asking the doctor this particular question, to which he has answered that yes, he has got a requisition letter, which is normally in duplicate. One copy is given back to the police officer. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Then, okay, we move ahead, sir. The second question that I would like to ask you is, this particular witness was brought by a police constable, namely Mr. MNO.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that right? Yeah. So normally there is a system of recording the age of the person or the patient that you have examined. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you assign any reason why you have not mentioned the age of this particular injured witness?
Sir, as age is not that important. According to me, age is not that important for injury certificate. I have not mentioned it in my report, sir.
Okay, so just pausing here for a moment for the audience. Basically, the what turns on this is, supposing you have a particular case where you are arguing about the age of your accused, then this would have relevance, because normally whether whether it is any injury report, normally there's a system of putting the age, so that the age is also an important factor. Perhaps because we are doing this as a kind of a demo, so that you will understand, all of you will understand what are the the pitfalls. Dr. Saab has purposely not done this. So this is how basically we are trying to teach you. This is a demo, that some things are specifically left undone or not done with a view to teach you as to what is required to be done. So age is a very important thing. Normally it is mentioned in all medical legal reports. So you must, this is one line of questions that you can ask, certainly. Dr. Saab, one more thing I wanted to ask you, which
Yes,
is,
sir.
you have said that there is the consent is explained to the patient in Hindi language.
Yes, sir.
Now, there is a space between that line and the word consent.
Yes, sir.
Normally, is it your practice to ask the injured person to write it in his own handwriting? What is that he has given consent?
Sir, normally we write it that what is a procedure that is going to be done on him or her, and what will be the result or the outcome of the procedure or examination that we are going to conduct. And I have explained it to the patient or the person who came to me for examination in a language understood by him. That's why I have written it in Hindi. I have not written the procedure, sir.
Okay, so this is the answer. So the doctor is not written the procedure, but he has explained it in the language that the witness is comfortable with, which is Hindi. Now also, Dr. Saab, there is one follow-up question to this, that the space, or rather it is my case, that the space that is left blank is for the injured person to write in his own handwriting that he has given consent. Will that be correct?
Can be written by the patient, sir, but normally we only write, sir.
Okay, fair enough. So we go ahead now. These were the questions that I've asked till now. Now, kindly see, Dr. Saab, there are there is the column just after that, where you say examined in the presence of. Now, will it be correct to say that this police constable was there at the time when the examination was going on?
Yes,
The
sir, he was there. That is why we have written initially before consent brought by PC Mr. MNO number 104.
Correct. But did you
Yes.
not feel the necessity of writing his name against that particular column, examined in the presence of?
Sir, I forgot that to write.
See, now this is purposely done by Dr. Saab. He has not forgotten. I am quite sure that a person of this repute will never forget it. But these are the small things, So this is the kind of answer that he will get you, a lot of leverage in your cross examination. Just imagine you secure this kind of an answer in your actual trial, where a doctor says that although the police constable has come, he also says that the whole examination is done in the presence of that person, and still he doesn't choose to write that his name. So it is a very important aspect which the doctor has forgotten. Okay, so now we come to a very interesting part. Dr. Saab, will it be correct to say that now we are in 2024 and you have conducted this examination way back in 2018, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So normally, I mean, of course, some people have got great memory, but for normal people, would you as a doctor remember the patient if you see him today, or the injured if you see him today?
Sir, I'll try my level best.
So tell me one thing, if you had or there is one interesting mark that I see after this particular line, which is identification marks. Now, can you explain for the purpose of the court, what do you mean by identification marks?
Sir, identification marks are those unique physical characteristic features which are specific to specific individuals.
So
So,
can you give example?
sir, like a black mole, which
Right.
might be present on a forehead of a person, of a sibling, but not present on his or her brother, or a tattoo mark of any kind of image. Like in India, we have many religion, many god. So maybe, one of them, or maybe the name of a partner, maybe a name of the parent, mother or father, or someone related to him or her.
Fine.
So that
So
can
would
be
it be
one of the
correct to say, yeah, thank you so much, doctor. So would it be correct to say that if you had written the identification marks of that particular patient in
Yes, sir.
2018, you would have with certainty identified that person today. Will that be correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So now one more interesting aspect of this. See, the doctor today, let us say he is examining your client, which is who is an accused. So the whole identification is a question mark. In 2018, he examines this particular accused. He conducts a physical examination. He opines that there were injuries. And today he is not in a position to identify. Now, this is a very important point for him and very important point for all of the audience. Identification marks are unique marks, which are that way unique to that particular person, and they would help any other person to identify him. Now, the absence of the identification marks is a very big loophole in the injury report. And, this, of course, Dr. Saab has done again purposely so that all of us can learn out of this. Then you come to the next part, the history is narrated by self. Now, normally you see that there is a history which is narrated. So just for the audience's explanation, supposing there is an attack on A by B, then the oral history would be if B is examined or rather A is examined, then he would say that B attacked me at so and so time with the help of a stick or a sword or a whatever, or fists, just like that. So whatever is narrated by the patient is reproduced truthfully by the doctor in that category of history narrated. Okay, so we go to the injury straight away. Dr. Saab, you have looked at the patient, you have examined him, you have seen the size of the injury, you have noted it down, and there are 3 injuries that I can see.
Yes, sir.
One is a spindle-shaped split laceration, then there is a second one is an incised wound, and the third one is what's a GA, Dr. Saab?
Sir, GA is grazed abrasion, sir.
Okay, so grazed abrasion. So you have a grazed abrasion. Now, of course, you must have taught the class what is an abrasion. You must have taught the class what is an incised wound and a laceration. So I will not go into that. Now look at the locations on which these things have happened. So the laceration is 3 by 2 centimeters, which is a quite a substantial laceration on the forehead. And then you have an incised wound, which is, see how deep it is. It is depth is 0.1 centimeters. Doctor Saab, how much is 0.1 centimeters? Roughly half of a finger?
Yes, sir. Half of a centimeter.
Half of a finger. नहीं, so half of a centimeter means कितना? मतलब roughly, it's deep, no? I mean, considerably.
Sir,
I'm just asking you off the record, all of this.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is maybe superficial, sir. We can
Okay.
say that it is muscle deep also.
Okay.
It's just a superficial because incised wounds are normally superficial one, where
Okay.
you can see the underlying tissue but not the muscle deep.
So there you have opined that it is possible from a sharp weapon,
Yes, sir.
right? And the abrasion is from a blunt force.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Dr. Saab, now the question is this, that you have mentioned about the 3 injuries and opined that 2 of them, that is item numbers 1 and 2, are grievous, whereas the third one is a simple one.
Yes, sir.
Now, by looking at the injuries, how is it possible for you to come to a conclusion that item numbers 1 and 2 are grievous in nature?
Sir, I went according to the IPC section of 320,
Right,
wherein, wherein on the forehead, if there is an injury, so it is, there is disfiguration of the
right,
face and head, and then incised wound triggers of left ear to the angle of the mouth. That there is again permanent a disfiguration of the face.
right.
So according to that section 320 of IPC, I said that there's two injuries which are mentioned. Injury number 1 and 2 are grievous, and third injury is simple in nature.
Right, right. So this is the kind. So now I could probably, go on and ask the doctor about the age of the injuries, because many a times that also plays an important part, because he's written in all these three categories, fresh, fresh, fresh. So normally that co-aligns or aligns with the oral statement or oral history given by the patient, that I was attacked 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, 1 day ago. So if it's 2 days ago, then it is not going to be fresh. It's going to be stale in that sense. Or I mean, what do you call that injury, Dr. Sir? Which is, let us say, 3 days old. What?
Sir, there is dating in abrasion.
Right.
Is, if it is fresh, how it will look. So when the victim came to me, it was red and it was fresh.
Hmm.
I mean, like reddish in color, and there was bleeding, active bleeding, which was present. That is why I have given the comment as age of the injury as fresh.
Okay, great. So of course, this is an open-ended discussion between me and the doctor, so that all of you will understand what it is all about. This is not a cross-examination, especially on the injury part. Okay. Now, the last question, Dr. Sir,
Yes,
which is
sir.
that after looking or after having a look at your uh, injury certificate, can you say on which date this injury certificate was prepared?
Uh, Sir, as mentioned above, I can come to a conclusion that the examination was conducted on 15th of July 2018, sir.
Okay, but then can you assign any reason why you have not mentioned the date and time and you have left that place blank completely?
Yes, sir, I can see that, sir.
Correct. So obviously an inference can be drawn. Now, obviously, I am not going to. Now, this is very important for somebody who's learning the art of cross-examination. You can't ask the doctor that it is, that you have purposely not done this. There is something called as inferring an adverse inference. So that is something which you have to argue in the court and say that because the doctor has not put the time, and the fact remains that this letter is dated 15/7. So we really are not in a position to know when actually this particular report was prepared. Now, at the end of your cross-examination, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to put up your case, right? Now, what do you mean by putting up your case? You're putting up your case means what is your suggestion that particular witness should have. So, what is your positive case? Now, in this particular scene, I could end this cross examination, and you must always end your cross examination by putting up your case. You don't forget it, because whatever good you have done by getting good admissions from the doctor or any other witness are going to absolutely go to the dustbin if you don't put up your case. So what is my case going to be? My case is going to be that Dr. Mr. So and so has not put the date, the time, and the place. He has also not taken the proper consent of the concerned person and not left any identification mark, on the basis of which my case to you, sir, is that this particular examination suffers from a material flaw and this cannot be relied upon. Obviously, the answer that a doctor is going to give is no, sir. But this entire three things that I have said forms the core of what I am going to argue before the judge, that the doctor has not put the date, the doctor has not taken the consent properly, and very importantly, the doctor has not examined that particular patient in the presence of the police constable. And again, very importantly, there are no identification marks. Therefore, today he can't really identify that particular patient. This is what I get away from the cross-examination. Okay, so I think I've come to the end of what I wanted to sort of. I've also run out of time. So just a quick, just one question probably, and that's probably I won't have time for more than that.
Can we discuss the scratching out also at the bottom of the signature? Is that
Uh,
relevant?
Yes, so probably a question can be formulated in a way that normally any overwriting or interpolation or a change requires to be countersigned. So that is one line of examination that perhaps can be asked. Sometimes it is wiser to leave it because then you are getting the correct. So supposing it's a wrong date, let us say now this is not a date, this is the MMC number. The Maharashtra Medical Council gives every doctor a unique number. Now, this is the number of the doctor. And there is a overwriting in that. But the doctor can tomorrow always say that I have got my MMC certificate with me. Here it is. So he cures that defect. But supposing it was a date and there was no counter signature, then you would certainly have been entitled to ask that there is interpolation, there is change, there is scratching, there is maybe overwriting, but you have not countersigned it. Here I didn't ask that question because experience has it's like how experienced you are. Normally an MMC number is like a bar council identification number. Even if you write it wrong, you can always produce a photocopy of your original document saying that this is the correct number. So the defect gets rectified immediately. See, my whole endeavor to tell people who are cross-examining is that if you fire a weapon, if you fire a bullet, it must hit. Don't fire in the air. So if you know that this can be rectified, then don't waste your time asking those 2 questions or 3 questions. Any question?
Yes, sir. This side Vikas here, sir.
Yes.
हम लोग क्रॉस एग्जामिनेशन में सर अमूमन लास्ट में हम लोग सजेशंस के रूप में लेते हैं इंजरी को देखते हुए कि क्या ये संभावना है कि ऐसी चोट गिरने से भी लग सकती है या ऊपर से कूदने से भी लग सकती है
बिल्कुल.
तो इज दैट द राइट वे टू बेसिकली इंटरप्ट द डॉक्टर
No, उसको interrupt नहीं हो. It's not interruption. See, what I did not particularly ask that question because मेरे पास facts ही नहीं है. See, today I am just giving you a demo of how a cross examination should look like. अगर मेरे पास इसकी एक डमी चार्टशीट होती या मेरे पास डमी फैक्ट्स होते तो मैं ये भी क्वेश्चन पूछ लेता. क्योंकि अगर मेरी केस है कि समझो एक जो इंजरी है वो मेरे आरोपी ने नहीं की, इट इज नॉट एट्रीब्यूटेबल टू माय अक्यूज्ड, इट हैज बीन डन बाय समबडी एल्स, या ये मेरी केस है कि इस पर्टिकुलर वेपन से ये हो ही नहीं सकता. समझो आपके पास वेपन जो सीज्ड है वो है स्टिक और एक इंसाइज्ड वुंड दिखाई गई है फॉर एग्जांपल, तो स्टिक से तो इंसाइज्ड वुंड्स हो ही नहीं सकती. कॉमन सेंसिकल बात है, मतलब यू डोंट रिक्वायर एनी न्यूक्लियर फिजिक्स फॉर इट. सो ये क्वेश्चन डेफिनेटली पूछा जा सकता है कि ये जो पर्टिकुलर इंजरी है ये स्टिक से तो नहीं हो सकती. ये किसी भी चीज से हो सकती है लेकिन स्टिक से तो नहीं हो सकती. तो यू हैव स्कोर्ड योर पॉइंट देयर. डॉक्टर बोलेगा हाँ क्योंकि ये इंसाइज्ड वुंड है तो हो ही नहीं सकती. सो देयर यू हैव गॉट द पॉइंट. हाँ, ये जो क्वेश्चन पूछे जाते हैं फॉर एग्जाम्पल, नाउ दिस इज अगेन अ वेरी कॉमन एग्जाम्पल विच आई कीप सीइंग पीपल डू and which really doesn't pay is, for example, if there is there is an old injury, then there is a tendency of a person to ask कि ये गिरने से भी हो सकती है, ये और किसी चीज से भी हो सकती है. लेट अस फॉर अ मोमेंट अज्यूम कि उत्तर आया कि हाँ हो सकती है, तो ये तो केवल संभावना है. आपको आगे जाके उस संभावना को एक्सप्लॉइट करके ये प्रूव करना पड़ेगा कि ये संभावना के थोड़ा सा आगे जाती है. इट गोज बियॉन्ड मियर कंजेक्चर या हाइपोथेसिस. मियरली टेकिंग ए पॉसिबिलिटी इज नॉट रियली द अल्टीमेट गेम. ये पॉसिबल तो बहुत चीजों से हो सकता है. जैसे कि इंसाइज्ड वुंड ये केवल नाइफ से नहीं हो सकती, ये स्वॉर्ड से भी हो सकती है, और किसी तीक्ष्ण हथियार से भी हो सकती है. एनीथिंग व्हिच इज शार्प. सो ये कहना कि ये और किसी XYZ हथियार से हो सकती है तो वो केवल संभावना है ना. लोग अमूमन लेते हैं. यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट. पीपल डू टेक इट बट इट्स ओनली अ पॉसिबिलिटी, एंड ही बीइंग एन एक्सपर्ट, अनलेस यू डेमोन्स्ट्रेट दैट व्हाट हिज फाइंडिंग्स आर एब्सोल्युटली रॉन्ग, उससे ज्यादा माइलेज नहीं मिलेगा.
Okay.
I think we can close it for the day.
Right, so we can close it. Guys, if you have any questions, you can send it to us. We might have one more session.
Yeah.
to help
Okay.
you with cross
I'll
examination.
log off. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Right.
It
Guys,
was an interesting this one. जितने लोगों ने ये चीज सुना है, this is the exact way वो चीज होता है. Riva ma'am, can you show that injury certificate once more? I'll go through it fatafat, and I'll just tell few of the things, जो सर का बड़ा दिल सर ने मुझे क्वेश्चन नहीं किया है ना, बट आई वांट एवरी वन ऑफ यू टू अंडरस्टैंड. ये जो कंसेंट पार्ट है मैंने जानबूझ के छोड़ा था. यहाँ पे हम लोगों को लिखना पड़ता है कि हमने उसके साथ, क्या पता वो सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट एग्जामिनेशन के लिए आया हो और उसमें कुछ इंजुरी मुझे दिखाई दिया हो, एंड देन मैंने कंसेंट उसका इंजुरी सर्टिफिकेट बनाया हो, है ना. तो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि क्या मैं डेड बॉडी का इंजुरी सर्टिफिकेट बना रहा हूँ, है ना. तो कंसेंट किसका लिया गया है. और सेकेंड पार्ट, ये जो एग्जामिन्ड इन द प्रेजेंस ऑफ सिग्नेचर थंब इम्प्रेशन, हमेशा याद रखना दैट हैज टू बी अ पर्सन हु इज नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन द केस. आप लोग को ये वर्ड बहुत कॉमनली पता है. वी एज लॉयर्स वी हैव ऑलरेडी read about it कि who is a third party person, who is a person who is not interested in the case. ये सब हमको पता है. आइडेंटिफिकेशन के बारे में मैं और राघव सर नेक्स्ट क्लास में हम लेने ही वाले, थोड़ा डिटेल में सर हम लेंगे. सो उस टाइम पे ना आई विल सेंड यू फ्यू ऑफ द एग्जांपल्स. ऐसे ही मैं A4 साइज में ना आपको थोड़े बहुत आइडेंटिफिकेशन मार्क्स दिखाऊंगा, और उसमें से आप लोग डिसाइड करना कि वो उसमें से सही कौन सा और गलत कौन सा. अब ये जो इंजुरी, मैम कैन यू गो लिटिल डाउन वेयर आई हैव रिटन अबाउट द इंजुरी पार्ट. या सो यहाँ पे ये देखो, ये जो मैंने जी सब लिखा है ना, टाइप ऑफ इंजुरी के नीचे जी लिखा है, नेचर ऑफ इंजुरी के नीचे GA लिखा है. दिस इज एब्सोल्युटली रॉन्ग. GA कैन बी जनरल एनेस्थेशिया फॉर यू, है ना. एक सर्जन के लिए वो जनरल एनेस्थेशिया हो सकता है, ठीक है, या फिर एक जनरल एब्रीवेशन हो सकता है, ठीक है ना. जब सर ने मुझसे एक सवाल किया कि भाई तेरे लिए GA क्या है, दैट इटसेल्फ इज अ बिग क्वेश्चन. ये भाई साहब मैंने GA लिखा क्यों है, और यहाँ पे टाइप ऑफ इंजुरी में मैंने जी करके लिखा है. वो G कैन बी ग्रीन, G कैन बी गेट अवे, G कैन बी ग्रेट, है ना. G कुछ भी हो सकता है. G फॉर मी इट इज ग्रीवियस, बट राघव सर के लिए या विकास सर के लिए या जो अदर पीपल हु आर सिटिंग एंड लिसनिंग टू मी, उन लोगों के लिए वही G नहीं होना चाहिए. मैंने लेफ्ट के लिए L डाला है. इफ यू सी इंजुरी नंबर 1, साइज के नीचे मैंने 3x2 MD लिखा है. व्हाट इज MD? मास्टर्स डिग्री, है ना. फॉर यू इट माइट बी मास्टर्स डिग्री, फॉर समवन एल्स इट माइट बी समथिंग एल्स. फॉर मी इट इज मसल डीप, है ना. तो मेरे लिए मसल डीप वो नहीं, आपके लिए वो नहीं होना चाहिए. मैं जब एक इंजुरी सर्टिफिकेट प्रोड्यूस कर रहा हूँ, अगर मैं मर भी जाता हूँ, ये चीज आप लोग को समझना. अगर फिल एज अ डॉक्टर फिल मैंने ये इंजुरी सर्टिफिकेट निकाला और कल के दिन में वन ऑफ माय कलीग इज कमिंग टू प्रेजेंट दिस केस, उसको ये सर्टिफिकेट देख के समझ में आ जाना चाहिए भाई फिल ने क्या लिखा था. इवन आफ्टर माय डेथ दिस सर्टिफिकेट शुड बी सो स्पेसिफिक, without any abbreviation, without any wrong intention, without anything wrong interpretation, mistake. ये सब चीज बहुत इंपॉर्टेंटली इस इंजुरी सर्टिफिकेट में मेंशन करना चाहिए. एंड एट द लास्ट पेज रीवा मैम ने बहुत अच्छा चीज वहां पे प्रोजेक्ट किया था कि मैंने अपना नाम देखो कैसा लिखा है. मेरा सील नहीं है. नॉर्मली माय सील शुड बी देयर. माय नंबर ओवर राइटिंग जो किया है सर ने, देखो करेक्ट पकड़ा मेरे को कि मैंने ओवर राइटिंग तो किया बट काउंटर साइन नहीं किया. हाँ, देयर आर एफिडेविट्स व्हिच आई कैन प्रोड्यूस, बट देन मैंने क्या वो चीज किया है, क्योंकि मेरे लाइफ में मैंने ये चीज किया है. जब भी मैं चेंजेस करता हूँ या ओवर राइटिंग करता हूँ, मैं क्या करता हूँ पूरी तरह कट कर देता हूँ और एक नया शुरू कर देता हूँ. If you see the opinion part which I have written, see the third line. Injury number 1 and 2 are grievous injury in nature. ये मुझे समझ में आ रहा है. I don't think so Raghav sir is able to understand that third and fourth line because I have just written it. क्योंकि मेरे को कोई और पेशेंट देखना था या कोई और इंजुरी सर्टिफिकेट बनाना था, शायद पोस्टमार्टम करने जाना था या सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट का एग्जामिनेशन करने जाना था, तो मैंने बस फटफट से लिख दिया. तो नेचर वो मैच्योर लिखा है, नेचर लिखा है, कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है। और उसके बाद में नंबर 3 इन डैश इन नेचर, वो क्या लिखा है वो सिर्फ मुझे पता है, बिकॉज आई हैव रिटन इट। आई डोंट थिंक सो इवन अ पर्सन हु इज माय कलीग विल अंडरस्टैंड दैट आई हैव रिटन सिंपल, है ना। तो ये चीजें बहुत मैटर करता है। डेट एंड टाइमिंग एट द एंड ऑफ द रिपोर्ट इज आल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट। यू नो, हम बहुत लाइटली ले लेते बोलते कि हमने स्टार्टिंग में लिखा है तो एंड में लिखने की क्या जरूरत है। सर मैं आपको एक चीज बताना चाहता हूँ, इफ आई एम साइनिंग, सी एनी डॉक्यूमेंट दैट वी साइन, है ना, लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट जो भी हम साइन करते हैं, साइन करने के नीचे हम क्या करते हैं, हमारा नाम लिख देते हैं और उसके साथ में डेट लिखते हैं ना। तो मेडिको लीगल रिपोर्ट जो है, इंजरी सर्टिफिकेट, सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट, पीएम रिपोर्ट, ये एज रिपोर्ट, ये सब जो है एक लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट है। जब वो लीगल डॉक्यूमेंट होने की वजह से जब मैं साइन कर रहा हूँ, उसके नीचे डेट एंड टाइम होना कि कब मैंने ये एग्जामिनेशन किया था, कब ये खत्म हुआ, कमेंसमेंट कब हुआ ये इस एग्जामिनेशन का, वो लिखना बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। और ये एमएमसी क्या लिखा है, मद्रास मेडिकल कॉलेज, है ना, ये सब बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। शॉर्ट फॉर्म्स मैं आप लोग को नेक्स्ट क्लास में व्हेन आई एम सिटिंग विद द टेक्स्ट बुक, मैं आप लोग को बताऊंगा व्हाट आर द थिंग्स रिटन इन टेक्स्ट बुक, so that it will be easy for you all to understand. I hope today's class was really excellent. Sir has explained many things बहुत अच्छे से सरल रूप में and in a very simple lighter note sir ने वो चीज समझाया है, and I'm really happy that sir took this session with a great you know what we say experience बहुत है। आशीष सर में जितना मैं समझा हूँ, he is experienced, so that's why you know when he questioned one thing, he has asked specific questions, इधर उधर की बातें जैसे beating around the bush किया नहीं है। He was very specific and he knew what was the answer to be given. If I was not giving that answer, sir was like, okay, fine, I understood the thing and this is what I am going to say. Whether the doctor accepts it or not, that is second thing. मेरे को जो मिलना था मेरे को मिल गया। So that is really good thing. Thank you, Rima ma'am.
डॉक्टर साहब मेरा क्वेश्चन है,
So पूछो ना।
डॉक्टर साहब इस रिपोर्ट पे थोड़ा सा जाएंगे जहाँ इंजरी है वहां पर।
Injury, Rima ma'am asked you.
हाँ देखिए डॉक्टर साहब, इसके अंदर जो ये ग्रीवियस और ये तो ठीक है, फ्रेश फ्रेश लिखा है, इसका फ्रेश और ओल्ड का कोई डेफिनेशन होता है या ऐसा फ्रेश का कोई ऐसा फ्रेश लिख
तो
दिया?
उसका एक डेटिंग, मैंने जब आप लोग को एब्रेशन, कंट्यूजन, लैजरेशन का क्लास लिया था, मैकेनिकल इंजरीज का, तो मैकेनिकल इंजरी और मेडिको लीगल इंजरीज का जब मैंने क्लास लिया था, वो टाइम पे आपको डेटिंग एक चीज दिखाया था कि ऑपरेशन में अगर फ्रेश होगा तो कैसा दिखेगा, 1 डे होगा तो कैसा दिखेगा, 3 to 5 days होगा तो कैसा दिखेगा, more than 7 days होगा तो कैसा दिखेगा। और वैसा ही मैंने कंट्यूजन का भी दिखाया था कि अगर वो फ्रेश होगा तो कैसा रहेगा, अगर वो 1 डे, मोर देन 1 डे, 3 days, 7 days, एंड जब हीलिंग प्रोसेस में रहता है, ये सब मैंने आपको मैकेनिकल इंजरीज की क्लास में लिया था। द पीपीटी विल बी शेयर्ड विथ यू ऑल, तो आपको उसमें से आइडिया मिल जाएगा सर।
लेकिन सर, लेकिन इसके सर एक ये भी है, इन्वेस्टिगेशन डन, तो इन्वेस्टिगेशन डन का कोई इसमें स्पेसिफिकेशन डिटेल वगैरह कुछ नहीं है।
सर गुड दैट यू आज, यही तो मिस्टेक है ना कि अब देखो स्पिंडल शेप लैजरेशन फोरहेड पे है, जहाँ पे मुझे मसल डीप दिख रहा है, तो हो भी सकता है ना कि वहां पे अंडरलाइन बोन का फ्रैक्चर हो। तो इन्वेस्टिगेशन में मुझे या तो एक्सरे या सीटी एमआरआई कराना चाहिए, वो मैं नहीं कर रहा हूँ, तो दैट मीन्स मैं बस नाम के लिए ये चीज कर रहा हूँ, या फिर मुझे कोई ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट नहीं है इस चीज पे करने के लिए, या मैं भूल के भी किया हूँ, तीनों में से एक हो सकता है उसमें। If I am not doing an investigation, one of the reasons will be that I forgot to do it. Second, I'm not interested. Third, I was negligent about the part.
यस सर।
ये जो है ना सर, मैंने जानबूझ के ऐसा लिखा है।
नहीं, मेरा एक इसमें केस पॉइंट हुआ कि इन्वेस्टिगेशन डन एंड इट इज मिसिंग, व्हाई इट इज मिसिंग, इसलिए मेरा क्वेश्चन।
Yes, sir, yes.
Any other questions, anybody? I hope you all enjoyed the class, liked the concept.
Yes,
Yes.
fantastic class.
ठीक है. So this was a little cherry on the cheese velvet cake that Phil sir has been preparing for weeks now, the master chef of the course. And we're going to put another cherry next week. Till then, there is just one request from all of you because you've enjoyed and learned so much. And this is going to be coming to your use. बहुत practically ये काम आएगा कहीं ना कहीं पे और आप याद करोगे फिल सर को, रीवा मैम को. So do make sure that this travels, please. You're part of many groups. You have so many people, advocates who can learn from these courses. Our intent is only that this travels and maximum people, maximum advocates, lawyers, students get to actually learn these things which are not there in books. They're not there in open for everybody to learn. So बहुत ज़्यादा मेहनत इसमें लगी है सबकी. So please do make sure, spread the word, and we'll meet again on Thursday next, and that will be our last class for now in this course, and we'll be ready with something good and better आगे, right? Thank you so much. किसी के questions हो तो please mull over everything that we have learned up till now. You have all the PPTs, go through them. देखो उसमें क्या क्या है. और कोई questions अगर आपको लगता है कि you need something to be addressed by Dr. Phil or Riva ma'am or anybody else on the panel, we can have that addressed, right?
Right, sir.
ठीक है. Thank you so much. Thank you,
you,
Riva ma'am. Thank you,
Bye.
Phil sir. Thank you, participants.